Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Halo, and in today's video I'm going to show you guys how to get to Champions Division at an insane speed. So back in Chapter 2 Season 1, I actually made it to Champions Division in one day with no guns. And so I know a ton of secret tips that nobody's ever talked about before on how to get there at just the most crazy rate. So before we get started, make sure you drop a like on the video right now. It really helps support me. And also consider hitting that sub button. We're getting close to 50k on the channel, and it'd be pretty lit if we could hit it. Anyway, guys, let's get started. So for the tips in today's video, I'm going to tell you guys the more general tips right now, and then at the very end, I'll show you guys the secret stuff that nobody knows about. So a general tip that you want to make sure you're doing is you want to play solos. And yes, this is extremely boring. I personally don't like playing solos that much, but it is the fastest way to get arena points, considering you actually lose less and you gain more. When you get a kill, it's like 20 hype or something really good like that. So it's a lot easier to get more hype in general when you're playing solos. The next tip is to W key a lot, and let me explain a little bit on this. So how I got to Champions Division in less than a day was because I did this exact method, and this is one of the most important parts, and it's really simple yet really effective. So what I did was I just landed the most popular spots on the map and just rushed everybody I saw. If it moved, I would fight it. And so I did this until I was at roughly 4k points, and then this is where you want to stop. So you want to W key a lot because you're not actually losing any points until you get to roughly 4k. And then from 4k to 6k is where you unlock Champions Division. And these are the two hardest parts. I was actually able to get to 4k points in under 5 hours, but getting from 4k to 6k is what's the most tricky part. Because from the 4k to 6k, you're going to run into more players that are a lot better, and then you're also going to run into more scrim-like matches. So W keying is definitely the way to go, and if you are not very comfortable with W keying, then I suggest watching this video right here. It'll pop up in a little card, and this video will show you how to box fight properly, and that's a good way on how to get better and improve your mechanics. In general, when you rush people in the later stages of Champions Division, you want to make sure that you're W keying them for a good reason. Like, let's say it's early game and you hit someone 150 with an AR laser, you're going to want to rush them. But if you only hit them for 30 with your AR and they have a lot of shield and they look like a good player, then just back off. This is just a general thing I do a lot. So I'll go for a laser. If the laser's unsuccessful, I'll completely back off, because when you try to laser someone, they'll start cranking and building a bunch of 1x1s and all of that, and you can literally just run away in the time that they're doing that. So pretty good tip that a lot of pro players actually use a lot. And so you just want to make sure that you're W keying as much as possible, because kills are the fastest way to get points, and you want to do this until you're roughly at 4k points. And then from 4k to 6k, you just want to camp a lot more. With 4k to 6k, your best bet for kills is actually third partying. So you just want to find good situations and just AR from a distance. That's like the best thing you could possibly do, because once it gets into these end games, it's not like an actual end game where there's like 40 people left. It's more of like there's 10 people left third zone, but these 10 people are A, really sweaty, and B, they have all the good loot. Like, these people have everything you could ever want. So it's really hard to W key in these late circles, and you'll often get punished if you W key in these late zones, unless you're like unknown army. So I recommend just literally scrimming up and sitting in a box once you're late zone when you get into the higher divisions. Another way to get a lot of hype is actually hype night. So from the time I'm recording this video, it starts in 5 days, and with these hype nights, they're super easy. It's a big W key fest usually. And if you're a good player, it's definitely something you want to abuse. Even if you place top 50%, you're still getting some decent hype. So just try to make sure you're competing in these. It's only a few hours of your time, and you'll get a ton of hype. Another tip is, right now in the new meta, charged shotguns are really good, but not a lot of people are used to them. So the best thing that you can do is actually abuse SMGs. So since the P90s just got back, any chance you can get, just pick them up and rush people as much as you can, because P90s are insanely overpowered this meta compared to every other gun. So since someone has the charged shotgun, they can't exactly hit you as much when you're just full on straight lining them with a P90. So I recommend just abusing the P90 as much as you can when you do get it. Another tip is do not land on mythic items. It's not a good idea. landing on mythic items is just what everyone else does, and it's going to end up getting you killed. The mythic items are just not worth it. What you want to do is actually kill people that have the mythic items. And what I mean by this is don't land the area right next to Caddy Corner and then just head down to Caddy Corner, because that's what everyone does. They land nearby locations and they push up, or they just land right on the location. What you want to actually do is you want to land really far away from these locations, just in the middle of absolute nowhere where there's a lot of chests. And then from here, you want to loot up for a while, W key, do that all game, and then before you're in late game, you should be able to find a few people that had mythic items, and then from there you can get those kills and have the mythic items going into endgame. And here are some places that are really good to land. First one is a little obvious. This is where Scoped and Tifu landed a lot. It's at the top of the map next to Steamy. It's still a really good spot, even though one house is kind of underwater. But getting this loot in this area is really OP because you can actually loot all this, head to that gas station right over there, and then from there you can head to the slurp truck all the way in the distance. And this way you're guaranteed full shield and a decent loadout, and there's very, very, very little competition here. And then you can also head up to the radio tower that's up there and get extra loot, so you'll actually be coming out with a pretty good inventory, even if you do get contested by maybe one person. The next spot is this little fish place right next to the middle of the map. I can show you guys on the map real quick. It's right here. It's next to Salty and the Authority, but this area is super, super good. Not only does it have a lot of chests, and it's very uncontested most of the time, you can actually get full shield really quickly because it's like an exact replica of the main Craggy building. And once you head into the top of the building, this is where you're going to be finding the most of the loot. You're going to find minis and chests all over the place, ammo boxes, all that good stuff. And then you're also guaranteed full shield from the slurp cans. And then when you head downstairs, you're just going to run into more and more chests. So in total, I think there's roughly like 5 chests in this whole building, which is not a ton, but you're also getting rotation. And that's what I think the best part about this place is the rotation, because you could rotate to Salty, Pleasant, and then you're also in the middle of the circle, so there's plenty of places that you can go. Boat right here, so you can travel really quickly. Like, this place is really, really, really good with the rotation. So you can get full shield, get a few guns for a alright loadout, and then from here you can head to nearby areas and do some W keying. And guys, for the next spot, we have a trash pile that's right next to Pleasant and Sweaty. This area over here with a ton of houses is super OP because you're getting fish, slurp barrels, and then you're also getting a ton of chests from each house. So you're gonna be walking away with pretty good loot, and you might have like maybe a single person share it with you. So it's a pretty good deal in general. And that's also in a pretty good spot in zone because you got a huge whirlpool right next to you, and from there you can rotate anywhere in the map. And then you also have Sweaty and Pleasant and Salty right next to you. So those are easy areas that you can rotate to for W keying. And for the final spot, if you're super comfortable with your mechanics, then I recommend landing Riki Rig. This is a super OP spot. There's so much loot here. It is a little contested on some drops, but most of the time you're not going to find very many people, maybe 2 to 3 in this entire area right here. So it's pretty good loot for a pretty decent risk. And now for places I recommend not landing, do not land Caddy Corner. Just don't go near Caddy. It's a dangerous spot. Don't land the radio, don't land the bunker, don't even go near Caddy Corner. It's not a good idea. Another spot you really don't want to go to is the Authority. This is a big boy bad idea. I don't really need to explain this too much, but it's not a good idea. And then the final spot I don't recommend landing is that ship. I don't know where it is on this map, but it's the ship that lands like on the outskirts. Do not land that ship. Not a good idea. So many people land there. I had this one match where I had like 5 people land with me at that one ship in arena. It's not a good idea. It has a lot of loot, which is really good if you're uncontested and you'll be just vibing the whole game, but that's very, very unlikely, and it's too much of a contest to get the loot considering the boat's like an inch big. So I do not recommend it. And then for my final tip for today's video, something that has really changed the whole competitive scene recently is the amount of transportation. So you really want to make sure you're abusing this in general. Make sure you memorize boat locations. Make sure you know where zip lines are, whirlpools, all that good stuff. Because if you hit a whirlpool, it's pretty much like landing at Steamy Stacks and getting that huge boost all the way into zone. So just make sure you are memorizing all this because it's going to be very important for upcoming tournaments and also getting arena done. Also guys, before you click off, 2 videos are going to pop up on screen. Make sure you check those out. Also, we're getting really close to 50K, so hit that sub button, turn on the notification. turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload or stream, and I'll see you guys all later.